Hello, my name is Carole Danby and I'm a member of the Network of Biblical Storytellers in Australia. The story I'm going to tell today is from the first book of Samuel, chapter 17, the story of David and Goliath. Saul and the sons of Jesse, except the youngest, David, were in the valley of Elah fighting with the Philistines. David rose early, left the sheep with the keeper, and took the provisions that his father Jesse had given him for his brothers, and set out to do as Jesse had commanded him. As he drew near the encampment, the army was going forth to the battlefield, shouting the war cry, "Rak Kajak! Rak Kajak! Rak Kajak!" Israel and the Philistines drew up for battle, army against army. David left the provisions with the keeper of the baggage and ran to the ranks and went to greet his brothers. And as he was speaking with them, the champion, a Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, who stood six cubits and a span in height, and wore a bronzed helmet, and was clothed in a coat of mail for his armour. This Goliath stepped forth from the ranks of the Philistines and shouted the words he had been speaking for the last 40 days. "Choose a man from amongst you and send him down to me. If he will fight me and he kills me, we will be your servants. But if I prevail over him and kill him, you will be our servants and serve us." And David heard him. The Israelites, when they saw the man, they fled from him, for they were much afraid. The Israelites said to each other, "Have you seen this man that has come up to us? Surely he has come up to defy Israel. The king will greatly enrich the man who kills him and give him his daughter and make his family free in Israel." David spoke to the men who stood by him, asking, "What is it that shall be done for the man who kills this man and takes back the reproach of Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he defies the armies of the living God?" And the people said to him, "So it shall be done if you kill this man." Now David's older brother Eliab overheard him speaking with the men, and anger was kindled in his heart against David. He said to him, "Why have you come here? With whom did you leave those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your presumption and the evil that is in your heart, for you have come up to see only the battle." But David said, "What have I done now? It was only a question." And he turned from him toward another and asked again, "What shall be done for the man who kills this Philistine?" And the people answered him again, as before. When the words of David had been heard, they were repeated before Saul. So Saul sent for him. David said to Saul, "Let no one's heart fail because of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight with him." But Saul said to David, "You cannot go up with him and fight with him, for you are but a boy, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David said, "Your servant used to keep sheep for his father. And whenever a lion or a bear came and snatched a lamb from the flock, I would go after it and strike it and rescue the lamb from its mouth. Your servant has killed lions and bears, and it will be so with this Philistine who defies the armies of the living God." So Saul said, "Go, and may the Lord be with you." David said, "The God who saved me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver him into my hand." Saul clothed David in his armor and put a bronzed helmet on his head and clothed him in a coat of mail. David strapped on Saul's sword over the armor and tried in vain to walk, but he could not, for he was not used to them. So he said to Saul, "I cannot walk in these, for I am not used to them." So he removed them. Then he took his staff in his hand and chose 5 smooth stones from the wadi and placed them in his shepherd's bag inside the pouch. He had his sling in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. The Philistine drew near to David and came up with him, with his armor-bearer going before him. When the Philistine looked and saw David, he disdained him, for he was only a youth, handsome and ruddy in appearance. The Philistine said to David, "Am I a dog that you come up to me with sticks? I curse you in the name of Dagon, the god of the Philistines, and all the gods of the Philistines, and this very day I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the animals of the field." But David said to the Philistine, "You come to me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the army of Israel, whom you defied. This very day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. And if I come up with you, I will give the bodies of the army of Israel, of the Philistines, to the birds of the air and the animals of the earth, so that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, and that all this assembly may see that God does not save with sword and spear. The battle is the Lord's, and you will be delivered into our hand." The Philistine came up to meet David, and David ran quickly to the battle line to meet the Philistine. He put a hand in his pouch and drew out a stone and slung it. And the stone hit the Philistine in the middle of his forehead. And the stone sank into his forehead, and he fell forward on the ground, face down. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a stone and a sling. There was no sword in David's hand. He ran quickly and stood over the Philistine and grasped his sword. He drew it out and killed him and cut off his head with it. When the armies of the Philistine saw that their champion was dead, they fled